I just cut my hair. Very good, very cool, very handsome. I like it.
Honestly, I actually don't know what it is about that video. It just cracks me up every time. Yeah, anyway, let's start the review. So every year in Valentine's Day weekend, sort of around this time in February, there's always a movie that comes out that not only revolutionizes its genre and really changes the way we see it, or is a refreshing change of pace to a genre that is dying out. And that trend is continuing with John Wick 2. So this is a film directed by Chad Stahelski, and he co-directed the first John Wick. Now, I've said so many times on this channel that I am a huge fan of the first John Wick. I think it's one of the best action films to have come out in the last few years. Keanu Reeves was so great in that film, and I just really enjoyed it as a whole. I thought it was a really refreshing change of pace, because up to the first John Wick, I might do a review for John Wick after this, but up to the first John Wick, we had been getting like loads and loads of bad, shaky cam action films, and I am really passionate about action films. I am someone who really appreciates a good action movie. And seeing John Wick for the first time was a really big surprise to me. And so I was looking forward to John Wick Chapter 2 so much because it promised more action. And I was really intrigued by this idea of the Continental Hotel and this underground network of assassins. And not only does this film have a lot more action and really does improve on some of the action scenes from the first one, it also actually explores that really intriguing plot of the underground network of assassins, that secret society that was introduced in the first film. Now let's talk about what I liked about this film, because there is a lot to like. Keanu Reeves, he is such a badass. He's like 50 and he's still doing like 95% of his own stunts. I mean, there's this one scene, he like gets hit by a car, gets up, gets hit by another car, and then he gets like beats up 4 people and then shoots someone in the face. That's all in one take. It doesn't cut at all. Whereas it takes Liam Neeson and Taken like 16 cuts and 3 stunt doubles and like 3 hours to climb over a fence. I feel like the director of this film watched my my How to Do Action Right video, and I know he couldn't have because I made it way after they finished filming, but whatever. I feel like he watched it, and because this film ticks all those boxes. Brilliant, smooth filming of the action, amazing stunts and really amazing fight choreography. It has an amazing hero. Some fight scenes really drew in your attention and built tension. Again, it had a really good hero in John Wick. And John Wick never had a chance to breathe. He was always on edge, and he was always at a vulnerable place. Now let's get back to Keanu Reeves as John Wick. I really like Keanu Reeves. Not just as an actor, but as like a person. He seems like a really cool guy in interviews, and he just seems like a really humble, down-to-earth guy. And he's one of those actors who really commits himself and really puts his body on the line when it comes to physical acting. And he's really up there with, you know, the likes of Tom Cruise and Harrison Ford. And after you watch this video, look up Keanu Reeves's training videos and sort of his preparation for the film, because it's so badass. Like, he's running around shooting, and like, it's so cool, and like, that is actually translated into the movie, because like I said, he's doing all these stunts. He's driving cars with no doors, and he's just kicking people and punching them and shooting them. And there's even one bit where he does that with, you know, that Black Widow thing where like you wrap your legs around and like uses your weight to slam them onto the floor. He's doing that himself. I mean, what's gonna happen to Liam Neeson's stunt doubles? They're all gonna, you know, they're going to need to look for a new employment. Although I did have some problems with the characterization of John Wick in this film, because in the first one, his motivations were very clear. It was a very straightforward motivation. He wanted to get revenge on these people who killed his dog and stole his car. In this one, it's a bit more unnecessarily convoluted. I mean, I love it when you do world building and you make a really simple story a little bit more complex, but for an action film, it doesn't really need to be that complex. His character motivations could have been explained in a much simpler way. And so because of this, I do feel like you can relate to the character of John Wick less, and there were less emotional moments that demanded a lot from the actor in this film as opposed to the first one. So I do feel like the character of John Wick was a lot more relatable in the first one, and a lot more believable. And the rest of the cast is pretty solid. Ian McShane is back, Lawrence Fishburne, you have Common, who's really good in this film. But I feel like the actor who portrayed the villain wasn't that good. He was very mustache twirly. He wasn't anything like Michael Knightfitz's character in the first one. I thought that was a really cool villain. Whereas in this one, again, like I said, he's very mustache twirly. He always has henchmen to do stuff for him. And he didn't feel like a really menacing villain. He was just a massive dick. But let's talk about the action scenes, because that is what we're here for. And they are some of the best action scenes that these two eyes have ever seen. If we talk about the action scenes alone, and not the movie, just the action scenes, this film would be an A+. The action scenes are so good. They are so well filmed, so well choreographed. No shaky cam, I'm talking none. None. I'm gonna say that again, no shaky cam, okay? And I feel like filmmakers are incredibly passionate about what they're doing, because not only are they really talented when it comes to stunts and filmmaking, but they also seem to be really, really big fans of just action films in general. From the very beginning of the film, we get this film projected onto a wall of Buster Keaton, you know, the really, really famous stuntman who really was the pioneer and really brought stunts into Hollywood. We have so many references to classic action movies. Raiders of the Lost Ark, there was a Dark Knight, oh my god. Okay, there's this one scene, I'm not going to spoil it for you, but it's very reminiscent of the Heath Ledger Joker scene from The Dark Knight, and when you see him, know exactly what I mean. It was insane. There were also many different references to films like The Raid and Enter the Dragon, and so I really do feel like these guys are really truly passionate about this film and about action filmmaking in general, which is something that is really important. The action scenes themselves are directed and executed with so much precision and so much energy, and to be honest with you, if we're looking at straight up action films here, this is the best action scenes since the first John Wick. But there wasn't a scene in this film that really stood out to me, because, you know, in the first John Wick there was that nightclub scene, and let's say that was a 10, and the rest of the action scenes in the first John Wick were, let's say, 6, 7s and 8s. This film is a slew of 9, so nothing really stood out to me, but every single action set piece had its own character and felt very, very unique. But there wasn't like a nightclub sequence that was really truly shocking and really surprising in a good way. And one of the best things about the first John Wick film, like I said, was the idea of this secret society of assassins. And I think fans definitely wanted more. The director heard what the fans were saying, and so it was expanded a lot in this film. Now, if I could describe John Wick in one word, it would be ambitious, because not only does it have amazing set pieces, amazing action, like I just said, it's also setting up this huge and really intriguing world of assassins, and something which would hopefully make for many more sequels to come. But I do feel that this film's pride is ultimately its downfall. Now I'm going to get to that in a second, but first let's talk about this more expanded and explored world of assassins. It's very cool. It's really, really intriguing, and when we see John Wick go to Rome, that's really where it gets fleshed out. And pretty much up until the end, it felt very, very believable, which is something that is really important when you're doing something like this. Which brings me to my biggest flaw with this film. There's a scene towards the end where they pretty much took the world building way too far, and for me it felt extremely cartoony, and it didn't feel believable anymore. But then again, we can't exactly take this film 100% seriously. I mean, we're talking about a guy who has like 100% headshot accuracy implanted into his brain or something like that. I mean, we're not meant to take it 100% seriously. But up to that point, up to this big bit towards the end, that if you've seen the movie, I think you'll agree with me, extremely out of place and just over the top and unnecessary. I feel like they could have explored and expanded on this mythos that was created in the first one in a more subtle way. Now, as for what grade I'm going to give this film, I really, 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 really wanted to give this film an A. But because of a pretty dull villain and lacking character motivations and that ending bit, I'm going to give John Wick Chapter 2 an A-. Guys, in the end, this is one of the best action films to have been released in the last few years. It's truly breathtaking what they can do with such simple action scenes and guns. They're not even, you know, there's no one jumping out of a plane, there's no one on a tank. It's very simple and it's so intriguing, and that's why I love this film so much. Anyway, guys, pretty much from now on up to next Sunday, I will be doing non-stop Oscar coverage. I have my review for Fences coming up, my review for Lion. I'm going to be doing a lot more Oscar videos, predictions and all that. So we're going to have a really exciting week to look forward to, because this is pretty much last week until Oscars. It's massive build up. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you go see John Wick 2, because it really is that good. Thank you.